Welcome to Hannity, and tonight it is full steam ahead at the White House. So far, 16 Trump cabinet nominees have been confirmed by the U.S. Senate. This includes the newly sworn-in Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. On the heels, of course, of Tulsi Gabbard yesterday, the Make America Healthy Again movement is now an official part of your federal government. And by the way, don't worry, your measles, your polio vaccines will still be available at McDonald's and KFC. They will not be closing. But the Trump White House, by the way, is making big changes across the federal government. The executive branch is no longer on cruise control. We actually have a president taking the reins and taking it back from these unelected, self-important, far-left, deep state bureaucrats that nobody knows their names from the Washington swamp. And a lot of them, bye-bye, they're leaving. Of course, this has major implications, both here at home and abroad. We're going to analyze Trump's plan for reciprocal tariffs in just a moment. Kind of sounds fair, doesn't it? Did you know Canada taxes us? Did you know the European Union has high taxes on us? Did you know India has high taxes on us and tariffs? Why don't we do the same to them, or they stop what they're doing? But that's not the only big news from the White House today. President Trump is ready to negotiate peace in Europe and lead a new era of communication, accountability, and peace, hopefully, worldwide. Take a look.
Do you want to have Russia back to the G7, sir?
I'd love to have them back. I think it was a mistake to throw them out. Look, it's not a question of liking Russia or not liking Russia. It was the G8. And, you know, I said, what are you doing? You guys, all you talk about is Russia, and they should be sitting at the table. I think Putin would love to be back. Obama and a couple of other people made a mistake, and they got Russia out. It's very possible that if that was the G8, you wouldn't have had the problem with Ukraine. And if I was president, you definitely wouldn't have had the problem with Ukraine. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. We were talking about denuking, denuking, and President Putin and I agreed that we were going to do it in a very big way. There's no reason for us to be building brand new nuclear weapons. We already have so many. You could destroy the world 50 times over, 100 times over. And here we are building new nuclear weapons, and they're building nuclear weapons, and China's building new nuclear weapons.
It's week 4 of shock and awe. Now, keep in mind, the war in Europe started under President Joe Biden, frankly, the worst president in modern American history. Take a look.
I think Biden is incompetent, and I think when he said that they could join NATO, I thought that was a very stupid thing to say. I thought when he said, well, it depends if it's a minor incursion. In other words, it's okay if Russia does a minor incursion. I thought that was a very foolish thing to say.
The
other thing that got it started was how badly Milley and these stupid people, these bad generals, how badly they did with Afghanistan. I was going to pull out, but we were pulling out with dignity and strength, and we were going to take our equipment with us and everything else. They are, I mean, what they're doing is, what they did with that, I think Putin looked at that mess and he said, wow, this is a great time, I'm going to go in. This should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his
He's a friend of
today?
CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore, because they have no credibility.
The president's right. Joe Biden, he was asleep at the wheel. Those days, thankfully, are over. Peace through strength is back. America's newfound strength abroad doesn't just extend to our foes. Trump is also not afraid to hold our allies accountable, including our neighbor to the north. Take a look at this.
So I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state.
Negotiations ongoing with Canada. There was obviously a delay in implementing those tariffs.
I spoke to Governor Trudeau on numerous occasions, and we'll see what happens. But it just sets up so good for them. Look, the people would pay much less tax than they're paying right now. They'd have perfect military protection. They don't have any military protection because and you take a look at what's going on out there. You have Russian ships, you have China ships, you have Chinese ships, you have a lot of ships out there, and you know, people are in danger. This is a different world today. It's a different world. They need our protection.
By the way, just stop for a second. Isn't it kind of refreshing? We have a president, not predetermined questions. Let me go to Joe from Reuters. Joe, read the question that we pre-approved. I mean, kind of refreshing, extemporaneous, the president giving access to the media. You'd think they'd be grateful, but they're not. But anyway, one way or another, Canada's leaders, they're going to have to learn that we do have all the leverage. They need to stop the tariffs they currently have on American products. They need to pay their fair share to NATO. They need to secure their borders. And Donald Trump is determined to hold Canada and all countries to a high standard, to restore fairness in our agreements, to put America first. Now, that's what these countries are doing. This isn't just about other countries. The president is also holding our very own government accountable. Every single department is now facing an intensive review, something that's been long overdue. Bad actors, unproductive workers are being shown the door. 75,000 federal employees, I promise you won't miss them, have accepted the president's buyout offer and will no longer be employed and paid for by you, the taxpayers, as of October the 1st. And just this week, Donald Trump also terminated Biden's Climate Corps, which planned to hire 20,000 climate-obsessed radical leftist, communist, socialists committed to social justice and anti-racism. And at the EPA, the newly sworn-in administrator, Lee Zeldin, uncovered a whopping $20 billion slush fund earmarked for left-wing NGOs that Biden staffers tried to hide in a third-party account. And according to President Trump, the Department of Education will be no more. Don't worry, your kids will still get an education. Take a look.
How soon do you want the Department of Education to be closed?
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job. We're ranked, so they rank the top 40 countries in the world. We're ranked number 40th, but we're ranked number 1 in one department, costs per pupil. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, but we're ranked number 40. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, I hate to say it, China, as big as it is, it's ranked in the top 5. And that's a primary competitor. We're ranked number 40. So if we're ranked number 40, that means something's really wrong, right?
Well, you could also give the money directly to parents. They get to pick the school that offers reading, writing, math, history, and science, and not a woke agenda. You can block grant money to states, but you can also have standards that must be met. The Department of Education may not be the only bloated government entity that's on the chopping block. Elon Musk, his team at Doge, they are uncovering a massive amount of waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. They're finding it every day. Get this. We're now learning that the HHS reportedly spent more than $22 billion to buy illegal immigrants' cars. They're buying cars for illegals and help out with their home loans and their startups. And while the Biden administration worked to fast-track the lives of illegals, putting them above all of you, everyone else is forced to navigate a sea of rules and regulations to get anything done. Take a look at this chart. For every single law passed in the U.S., bureaucrats in D.C. created over 18 new regulations. Across the government, there are nearly 100 million words spelling out each and every regulation. That is the definition of insanity. That is a bureaucracy that is spun way out of control. Until now, almost no one has critically regulated America's all-powerful, ever-growing federal bureaucracy. This may be the only opportunity in our lifetime to truly limit the size, the scope, the influence, the reach of government in every aspect of your life. We need to take advantage of this moment. But instead of speaking truth to power, many on the left, they're just desperate to defend mother government above all else. For example, over at MSDNC, conspiracy theorist Rachel Maddow stoking the flames of hysteria, peddling another lie, another hoax, and a complete distortion. This time, Elon Musk is the target. Let's watch.
As the top campaign donor to U.S. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units.
You got armored Tesla vehicles. Donald Trump's corrupt. This is terrible. This is a conflict of interest. Here are two very critical facts that she omitted in that conspiracy theory. Somehow, she failed to mention, first, the Tesla procurement plan That started under Joe Biden, Rachel, not Donald Trump. Number two, this plan was canceled by President Trump. As always, MSDNC, mad out, lying, deceiving their audience. They haven't learned a thing, and they do it for political gain and, frankly, a paycheck. And she's not the only left-wing zealot pushing conspiracy theories. Delaware Senator Chris Coons put this dramatic post on X, blaming Musk and Trump for allowing critical medicines to expire in a warehouse. They're horrible people, unable to reach Africa because of USAID, quotes. Two problems with that tweet. One, as Musk has pointed out, giving shipping routes and distribution times, that medicine needed to be shipped months ago if it was truly about to expire. Number two, you kind of zoom in on the box. Take a closer look. The medicine appears to have an expiration date. That date is 2027. Whoopsie daisy. Anyway, saw Trump and Musk do important work. Democrats have nothing to offer other than their daily temper tantrums, their screaming, yelling hysteria, their lies, their fear-mongering, their conspiracy theories. Soon it'll be calls for impeachment. They, of course, have been turning to the courts to lend a helping hand. And now even that is failing. Two courts just ruled in Donald Trump's favor, allowing his federal employee buyout plan to move forward and restoring Trump's ability to freeze federal funding.